Hello guys, today I will be showing real quick how to make a muffled sound in Audacity, meaning somebody talking behind a door, behind a wall, or perhaps inside a trunk if you're that kind of person. Anyway, I've tried to record this about 5 times already, but I realized my microphone wasn't on for the first 4 times, so let's try this again and hope that it works. So, the tools for this are really easy. We're just going to use one tool, and if you only want to see how to make the sound, you can stick around. It's just going to take about 40 seconds. If you want to stick around afterwards, I'm going to show you how the tool works and why it's working the way it is. So we're going to start off by recording something real quick. What are you doing, step bro? There we go. Now, this sound is not going to be muffled at all. What are you doing? And that is because I just spoke into the microphone, and that is pretty self-explanatory. So we want to go to effects, and we're going to go to low pass filters. Now in here, if you have a if you have a really much bass in your voice, if you're a male with a really deep voice, you can go lower on the frequencies here. Now, if you're female, you perhaps want to go higher on the frequencies. So this is really voice dependent. You need to check with your voice actor, you need to check with yourself, you need to check the voice in general, and you need to play around with these settings. If you think that too little is going through, you want to higher the frequencies. And if you think that too much is going through, you want to lower the frequencies. So play around with this. The roll-off is basically how much we're going to distort the sound. So if we put 6 here, it's not going to sound like I'm really far behind the wall. It's going to sound like I'm right next to the wall, basically. What are you doing? Whilst if I was to put 48, you're not going to hear what I'm saying at all. What are you doing? So I think for this sound, 12 would probably be the sweet spot. What are you doing? Yeah, I like that. I like that. So here is the final sound. I'm using 500 Hertz with 12 decibels roll-off on the low-pass filter. What are you doing, step bro? Anyway, so the reason to why this works, and if you only wanted to see how to make the sounds, you can leave now. The reason to why this works is because in real life, the higher frequencies, they don't tend to pass through walls that well. Whilst the lower frequencies with the lower wavelength, they actually have a higher chance of penetrating walls, as well as making walls vibrate and sending sound further, meaning that the person listening to us can actually hear us better. So the roll-off filter, or the low-pass filter rather, is a roll-off filter for lower frequencies actually, or higher frequencies to be honest. And the reason to why this works is because we have a bass we have a bass volume right here. And this is, when we're talking into the microphone, the sound that you're hearing right now, this is going to be the same all the time. But what we want to do is we want to take a frequency, like 500 in my example, and when we reach that frequency, we want to cut the sound off. The thing is, if we was to just cut the sound off completely, like if you're using the filter curve and you just cut the sound off, that's actually going to make the sound like you're inside a can. It's going to sound really old radio-like, and it's not going to be a good effect. So we want, after 500, we want to tell Audacity that any sound that comes above here, the higher the frequency is, the harder that sound is going to have to pass through this wall, or to reach the bass volume in this example, if we're talking in technical terms. So we want this to roll off really smooth until we reach a point where the sound is no longer audible. So when we reach this is probably going to be like 800 Hertz. When we reach 800 Hertz, it's going to cut off the sound entirely. And we could do this manually. If we go into Audacity and we record something, hello, this is my test, 1, 2, 3. Now, if I choose this, I go to the filter curve real quick. I've already prepared a filter curve for us. As you can see, we start at 500 and we have our baseline here. The higher we go, so we go to 1,000, we go to 2,000, up to 4,000, the higher we go, the lower the decibels go until we reach about 0. So if I was to play this, it's going to sound basically the exact same as the example I just gave you. Hello, this is my test. 1, 2. You see, I'm behind a wall. But if I was to cut it off like this, it's going to sound like I'm inside a can instead. So this is the example I gave you before, where we just cut the sound off completely, and it's going to sound really bad. Hello, this is my test, 1, 2, 3. So basically, when we're doing the low-pass filter, all we're doing is we're telling Audacity, please roll off the sound after a certain hertz and just lower the volume for all above frequencies. Now, if you ever heard of a high pass filter, that's actually the same thing, except you guessed it, the other way around. So I hope you learned something today. I'm sorry if it's a bit messy. I'm really not good at explaining things in tutorials, but I still insist in making tutorials because I think it's fun. So yeah, have a good day. Bye.